All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to halftime of tonight's contest. We're Cyclone Touchdown Club Senior Spotlight. We're joined by number 27, Kaleb Holzer, and number 7, Zeth Mullins. Both seniors. Kaleb Holzer's got a 3.4 GPA, and Zeth's got a 3.8 GPA, he says. So we'll go with that. Gentlemen, appreciate it. First question we got, going into tonight's contest, we've had two really good back-to-back games. Had a 6A opponent, 5A opponent. We finally get in conference play tonight. What have you all taken away from playing two bigger schools that have multiple athletes? I'll go ahead and start with you, Holzer.
Just playing bigger schools to start out with, it'll put pressure on you, make you a better team. You always make your biggest mistakes in the first couple of games, but playing non-conference games first is always better, so you can fix those mistakes throughout the season.
All right, Zeth.
We just got to execute it the same way as we executed the bigger schools. They play them the same way we did. Just go out there and play.
Sit up there and watch me and Stacey watch. We call the game, we watch, and we get to see a lot of stuff behind the scenes action. The way that you two have come and played the star and the wheel, the linebacking core, it's phenomenal. It's like that you all feed off each other and you know exactly what you're going to do. Every time we look up, one or both of you's in on either forcing them inside or making a tackle. Does that come natural? Or is it just something that you've just chemistry and it just happened?
For me and Zeth, I feel like it's more of like a chemistry thing. I mean, we've been playing together since freshman year. We've been close. We hang out all the time. And I think it's just more of a chemistry thing now.
Yeah, we kind of just know where each other is at all the time. We know each other's going to do their job, and we just go out there and play, and it just happens right.
All right, let me ask you all a question. Let me flip on the other side of the ball, okay? You both happen to be running backs, and we saw so far this year a number of people carry the ball, and you both kind of bring a little different to that. Kaleb, I'll start with you. You're the track guy, and you've had some big runs. Talk about what it's like playing running back in this Cyclone program.
Playing running back for Cyclone Nation is just awesome. You have the chance to either put the fans on their feet, and you hear the crowd shaking. I mean, you have one of the best offensive lines in the state to block for you. I mean, it's awesome.
Zeth, tell me what you think about it, because you've played a little bit of everything since you've been here. So, and you've been carrying the ball quite a bit this year. So, what's it like for you to be playing after all those brothers had their hand down on the ground or snapping the ball? How does it feel to finally get to carry it for a while?
It feels good. I mean, we're a pretty run-heavy offense, so it feels good to kind of start off the game running the ball usually, and get out there and get the tempo going.
Let me tell you something that we both talk about a lot up there, and both of you. We see it on defense. We see it on offense. Neither one of you are the big boys out there, but you both make it up with the motors that you have. Okay, there's an old saying that you want cornerbacks to have all gas and no brakes, and that's how you all play at linebacker. But you do it very well. Where does that come from, Zeth? I'll start with you. I mean, it's just like every single play, and both of you, special teams, offense and defense. Where do you get all that energy from?
I've always been the smallest on the field, so I guess just growing up, I either had to go really hard or I was going to get bullied out in the field. And then having two older brothers helped too. They push me around a lot.
Kaleb, where do you think it comes from?
You gotta have a big heart for being if you're small, and something Coach Whitten tells us is you gotta have heart if you want to play big boy football. So I really took that to heart, and I took it.
I'm going to say this, okay? This is your senior year, and we're starting the first conference game tonight against Granger. What Coach Whitten told you is correct. Whether you're small or large, you got to have heart, and you can't do it if you're small and you don't have heart. You two guys have as much heart and as much passion as anybody I've seen. Zeth, just don't get any 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, I'll try not to.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for our senior spotlight tonight with Kaleb Holzer and Zeth Mullins. I really have enjoyed watching them play, watching them grow in this Cyclone program, and especially looking to see how much they've contributed already and how much they'll contribute in their senior season. That's going to do it for our senior spotlight. Tony and I will be back after these words from our sponsors with your second half on WBEJ Radio. Hey guys, good job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Cyclone fans, welcome to week 3 of the 2023 season here on the Coach Sean Witten Show. I'm Stacy Street along with my partner Tony Briggs, joined as always by the head football coach of your Elizabethton Cyclone, Sean Witten. I'm going to start off this way, Coach Witten. I seen a quote from you after that Science Hill game where you said you thought that was the longest game you'd ever played. I'm going to disagree with you. I think last Friday night in Morristown West may have felt like the longest game that got shortened. Go ahead and tell our listeners what your thoughts are about the Morristown West game.
Well, I mean, strong performance by our defense right off the bat. You know, starting the game out with 2 consecutive turnovers. Our defense didn't blink. You know, they 3 plays and out and got the ball right back to our offense. I mean, it was a great effort by our defense, especially when, you know, the second possession, you know, we got the ball inside the red zone, throw a red zone pick, which a week ago got us a lot of momentum, you know, really boosted our football team. Flip side of it, we turned the ball over. You know, defense has got to go out there and make a big stop. But really credit our defense for playing really well the first couple drives. And then, you know, once we settle down, you know, we end up making some good plays.
And, you know, you kind of get caught up in the momentum of the Science Hill win, and you're coming in, and you got to remember that you got Rhett Slagle in there as a sophomore, starting his second game of varsity football, and he throws 2 picks, but he hung in there, and he came back, and he threw the strike to Eli Blevins, and talk about that a little bit about the guts that he showed.
Well, number one, I knew going into this game that we were going to have to open it up a little bit. Morristown West was very good on the defensive line. They're very big.
And they blitzed the linebacker every single play.
They blitzed linebacker in the weak side just about every play. And so I knew we were going to have to our game plan was to go in there and kind of get the ball out quick, you know, hit some slants, hit some digs, you know, hit some bender routes across the middle. You know, we wanted to try to do some of those things to really kind of open them up a little bit where we could sprinkle in some runs. And then, you know, I think that, you know, Rhett, I think he did a great job of feeling the pressure. You know, twice we get beat off the backside, which is his blind side. He escapes out of there. We've been working really hard to get, once he escapes, he's kind of got to get further away from the pocket. You know, his first interceptions, he's trying to make a play, but he's not that far extended from the pocket, throws it back to the middle. I want to kind of see him get more out to the numbers to where the receivers have a chance to react off of the inside routes and then becomes in a scramble drill. But he did come back and made two scramble plays, which one of them was for a touchdown. The other one set up a touchdown. So credit for him to come back, settle down, and ended up making some good throws. But, you know, we were getting pressure. You know, we teach those guys to escape over the top, escape up and under. So really big opportunities for us down the road to really make those plays. And they're hard to defend. They're hard to coach against. And, you know, he did step up on the one and got our first touchdown to Eli Blevins coming across the middle. So he kept his poise. He kept playing. We showed him some things with the iPads on the sideline, and you know, it's just a lot of growing pains, growing process. But thought he handled it pretty well. And that Morristown West team was a better team, especially on defense, than they appeared on film. And we, you couldn't see them up there, but Tony and I were way up there in that press box, and I saw them get off the bus, and it seemed like they had about 20 more players than we did on the sidelines, and they were big kids, and they were very well on defense, were they not? Yeah, they were big. I mean, a nose tackle that's over 300 pounds. They had 2 really good inside linebackers, athletic, a free safety number 3 that you saw them get their hands on a lot of balls, the deflections and that sort of thing. I think that, just from a fundamental technique standpoint, we tried to go in the game. We've really worked hard on play action pass. We kind of hurried the play action pass. We weren't really doing a great job of getting the linebackers to bite. And, so it's just thought we had an opportunity to make some plays, to get the ball to Luke, get the ball to Dry, to spread it out a little bit. We've been working hard on formations to the field of trying to hit that backside single receiver. That was the one we tried to go to down in the red zone. So, still opportunity to make a lot of plays. We do have some weapons to try to open it up and throw the ball down the field. And, we did come back. Rhett did come back and made 2 deep ball throws to Luke Whaley. We really worked hard the last couple weeks on a red zone pass. At times it gets difficult just to run it in there, and so we try to hit Dry on some slot fades. We try to hit Luke late in the game on a fade there. It's just some of those things that we've been used to being able to kind of come easy to us, just kind of came a little bit more difficult. But, it's not every time, you can get down there, go goal line, and then, bring in Dry and just score, or just go beef package and then try to run it in there. Those days of, the things that we've been accustomed to with Rollins, was highly successful. Throwing the fade to Parker was highly successful. So just got to find different ways to score once we get in the red zone.
One more thing on the offense. Both running backs, both senior running backs, we're having tonight on our senior spotlight. Holzer took the bulk of the carries this week. Zeth took the bulk of the carries last week. Is it a feel? Is it a gut feeling? Who goes with it? Is it based on how much defensive play they play, how much offensive plays? How do you go about knowing who the gut is?
Well, playing Mo West was a big-time heavy run football team with a tight end and H. We felt like there's going to be some opportunity to maybe get, Kaleb some rest at the will linebacker position to insert Landry Buckles, who made some plays, and insert Billy Woodby to get some plays on that weak side linebacker to give us more of a bigger presence to kind of to stop the run. And with that said, it gave Holzer an opportunity. Holzer's best series at running back Friday night was when he got a break on defense. And so one of Holzer's best plays is we run the H-back counter weak side, which we were able to kind of establish that, get going. You saw when Holzer got tired, one time he did put the ball on the ground. And so, for whatever reason, we couldn't get Zeth going. They were sitting on Zeth. We did get Zeth, a running back out of the backfield on a wheel route. We did get him on a scramble play down the sideline. So what I like about those guys is they are extremely versatile. I felt like we've had some plays in our playbook that we wanted to kind of run. It just kind of felt like, just the situation with our quarterbacks, our line, and just some of the plays the go-to plays that we've had in our arsenal, in our playbook. We just didn't feel really confident about making those plays. And so I felt like as hard as Mo West was blitzing, we could have run a couple screen passes. We could have tried to do some things to slow them down. But we'll work on those things these next couple weeks and see if we can add those into our game plan.
Now, let's flip over on the defensive side of the ball. Mo West come in. It was almost, Stacey and I talked, it was almost like a mirror of us. A lot of H-backs, a lot of tight end. Quarterback-wise, 180 degrees different from the week before. You got a more of a quarterback that stands back there, more gunslinger, where the week prior was more of a scat back. How hard was it to get these defensive ends to play a different style of football for 2 weeks in a row?
Well, I thought we did good at times. We had some twists that we were able to kind of get going where, a lot of times we didn't have to spy the cue like we did against Science Hill. I thought we had 2 plays in particular that they converted on third down to the slot receiver down the middle. I thought we had 3 guys there. Justice was there ready to pick it. Almost had one against Science Hill. But, when you get a different quarterback like one at Motes versus Science Hill, we had to keep Justice close for spy. You can't do twist, and you can't allow Mason and Ben to kind of go up and under lose contain against Schwartz. But we thought that we had some mismatches. You saw an inside move by Mason Ball one time against big number 72 that was able to kind of take the inside. You saw Ben kind of go up and under to really try to get the quarterback. So we did some things. We were there at times. We brought some inside twist. that you can do different when you play a different quarterback like that, and we don't have to really worry about him running. So I mean, our defense is playing lights out. You talk about some goals that we have right now after 2 games. I mean, 1, we're playing really good defense. 2, if our offense doesn't turn the ball over, what kind of situations are we really in? 3, we want to score 100% in the red zone. After the first drive, every time we got down there, we did end up scoring. And then 4, we want to win the kicking game. And so at times, a little bit, maybe Friday night, we were lackadaisical in the kicking game. Our kicks were good. Our punts were good. Our coverage maybe not has been as good as it had been. We had opportunities to do better in punt return. So, just some areas where we got to continue to get better.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for the first half of the recap of last week against Mo West. When we come back, we'll preview tonight's opening contest as we open up Class 4A conference play as we're at Granger High School. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Coach Sean Witten Show. Coach, it's week 1 of the most important week as it started. Conference week starts. Seemed like we're going back to Granger. Seemed like we played them for 6 years. We've been over 5 years in a row. I don't think they ever come here but once. So we're back over here. Tell our fans what they're different, what we're coming into tonight about this Granger.
Well, it's very similar offense that we faced last week. Teams like Granger are really 100% run. They want to run the football. They don't really do a great job of throwing it, and so they really try to shorten the game. They try to huddle. They try to run the play clock down, try to snap it with less time on it. They want to shorten the game, and thankfully for us, it gives us another opportunity to go have some consistency on defense where the game plan can stay very similar. It allows us to really do some things from our coverage standpoint. From playing a 2-high safety scheme, now we can roll down to a cover 3. From a 1-high safety scheme, we can try to get our outside linebackers more in the box to really try to stop the run there. And, without bringing another defensive lineman in to bring a jumbo or heavy package. Tonight, we really want to do a great job of getting our offense rolling. We really want to do a great job of playing a more up-tempo to try to maximize the amount of plays we can get. We really want to try to sprinkle in some different things that we've been working through the course of our summer practice and our last couple weeks, and see if we can spread the football around and continue to keep our offensive line and then gain some experience for the quarterback position.
And this is our 3rd week in a row on the road. How do you, as a coach, keep these kids from being road weary?
Well, I mean, I think that we practice really hard. We try to. Have really tried to film practice. We do a lot of self-scouting where you focus on yourself more, though, than the opponents. You do a lot of correction from the film. You try to play devil's advocate as a coach. You put yourself in the other coach's shoes to really the things that, what are they seeing? What are the tendencies that we're giving away? Things that we want to add more to our offense. And so I feel like, guys like Cam Baker and Mason Hall and then our running backs and then, some other guys, Eli Blevins, that we can get more involved in the offense. And then, just a little bit more misdirection, at times a little bit more, the first 2 games playing against a defense like Science Hill and Mo West where they bring a lot of outside pressure. We haven't been able to get red on the move. We've been more stationary pocket presence, trying to break the pocket, try to create some scramble plays. We want to see if we can get him on his feet. Some of Rhett's best throws are on the run, so we want to see if we can get him out on the pocket and become, a passer keep type play.
Finally, before I hand over to Stacy, what do you want to see from some of the role players tonight?
Just a mentality like a starter. When you go in, that your role is just important to play every down, like you're being evaluated. To see if we can create more depth and you find more guys that can step in on special teams. Here's the other evaluation period, Tony, you get is a lot of guys are fighting for the reps, and a lot happens in these games is you maximize each rep. I've used the thing like Zach Wallen. Zach Wallen is a safety. He's in there for Dry to give him a break. He's in there to give Luke a break. The better he does, the more opportunities he gets, the more he gets to stay out there, the more he becomes a starter type role. And so these guys may get 5 to 7 to 10 to 12 plays, but those plays the next game can increase. You go from half a dozen plays to a dozen plays to now you're getting 24 plays, and now you're on starter on multiple special teams. So we want to see those guys have a mentality like they are a starter, and when they go in, we want to see them make some plays.
Let me pick up right there where you're at. You go from playing that tremendous rivalry with Science Hill, first game, 6A school. You got Mo West, a 5A school where you got to get up and you're on the road. Then you think, okay, it's Granger, all right, and we pretty much had our way with Granger. Even the first year we went down there when they were supposed to be so good. You got to play them, but how do you as a coach keep the kids up and say, okay, I know it's the first week of conference play, but to keep that same intensity against Granger than you do at Science Hill? Or
sometimes, Stacy, when you get in games like this, maybe later down the road, you're trying to maybe sometimes rest people, maybe try to, everybody bangs and bruises, and you can give some guys a little bit lesser role to make sure you're getting them ready for the playoffs. Here, we're still building for down the road. We've got a lot of guys that we need breaks. We need more consistency, more depth on the offensive line. We need more guys where they're playing both sides of the ball that guys can sprinkle in and give them some breaks. But we're really building for down the road. There's a lot season left to play. There's big games here in 3 weeks. There's another big game in 5 weeks, and there's a lot of season left to play, and we're still growing in a lot of ways. We know how good we are defensively, but there's still a lot of areas to grow on offense. And so the timing of the routes, how far the outside receivers can get in. You saw the first play of the game against Mo West. We hit dry down the middle. He catches it in front of a crowd of linebackers. Our mentality is really tough right now. Our guys are giving it everything they've got on both sides of the ball. We've been relentless. The execution on offense can be better. The tight windows, if we can get that ball to dry a little bit quicker, now he's catching, he's scoring. If we can get that ball to Luke on the outside in the first window, he can catch it, he can make some plays. So we're still looking for that consistency at running back position to allow those guys to make plays. And then the more that we can build depth on the offensive line, obviously the better we're going to be.
And one thing I've seen about this team that has been a consistent trait of every good team that you've had, this team doesn't seem to get rattled a whole lot. One interception anybody can shake off. 2, you start kind of questioning. You give up a big play, you kind of question. These guys, regardless of who you got in there, have that trait of that 2019 team, like, okay, let's play the next play. Are you seeing that?
We've talked a lot about that, Stacy, and it's good to see that resemblance. We've talked a lot about more. Just we've got assistant coach on the sideline that we've made them have an index card to just keep coaching them the coaching tips and the tips and reminders of the small detail things. Play the next play, get your eyes in the right spot, make sure you're proper in line, make sure you got the correct foot forward, correct foot back. And so, just try to communicate and connect with these guys. And then I think we've just done a better job too. A lot of times we've got this tent stuff set up with the video footage and the TV, but we're trying to make quicker corrections. We're trying to quicker adjustments to get the guys back. So our defense has done a phenomenal job creating turnovers. So, if our offensive line is watching our defense and then we get a turnover, now they're more in tune that, hey, we got to go score here. We got to go make a play here. Hey, we got to put a drive together. So just making quicker adjustments, getting them back to where they can watch the game and focus the game more into the game. Mm-hmm. In the past, a lot of times we keep those guys over there and rest them and coach them up, for as long as the defense is out there. But just getting them to feel a part of the game, have a better understanding. I think that's helped us out a lot better. Our coaches have done a great job on the defensive end. We're not giving up the big plays, if we continue to do that. But, it's also – we've got a number of starters on special teams, Stacey. You talk about it. Zeth had a tackle on punt team. He had 2 plays on kickoff coverage. That was the difference in the second half. And then also I think one of the biggest things there is we've talked about explanation marks. ending the quarter the right way, ending the half the right way, getting off to a good start. I really think that the way we have ended the second quarter and began the third quarter has really, against Science Hill, we were out on fire coming out of the second half. We had quarterback sacks. We made 2 plays on kickoff coverage this past week, but we're asking a lot of our guys in all 3 areas, and it's really played big for us the first 2 weeks.
And tonight, as we go into this all-important first conference game of the year, a couple injuries last week. We had Jay Bird went out, and also Mason Ball. Can you give us an update on both?
Yeah, Mason Ball was a little bit precautionary. Kudos to Andrew Blevins, stood up and played really well. He's a starter on all special teams, and then he became an impact player at defensive end there. Mason has been back practicing this week. Jay Bird took a blindside shot on a punt team. He's
a bad shot
there that it's a blind shot that they're trying to remove the game. So he's kind of been out all week, but it's just asking for the next guy to step up. And I thought Andrew Blevins did a great job. It's another senior guy that really did a great job there, kind of holding ground. It was just we asked these guys to make sure that they're one play away from stepping up there, and thankfully Mason's going to be back again this week with us there, but we need guys to step up and play pivotal roles for us. Thank God what is it more? Hopefully Jay Bird is going to be ready for us in a couple weeks there, but we'll see. And we just need everybody. It's a long season, a lot of football. It's and when you play 2 really good football teams, a 5A opponent, a 6A opponent, right out the gate here. We've shown signs we got a really good team. We got something that can really be special.
Coach Whitten, as always, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this week's version of the Coach Sean Whitten Show. Coach, as always, we thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back after these words from our sponsors as we have for you tonight the opening conference game of the 2023 season as your Elizabethton Cyclones travel down to Rutledge to take on the Granger County Grizzlies. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors on WBEJ Radio.
And